Boom, 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 boom. Now tell me what you gonna do when it ain't nowhere to run. When judgment comes for you. When judgment comes for you. Tell me what you gonna do when it ain't nowhere to hide. When judgment comes for you. 'Cause it's gonna come for you.
Nigga, this for water, easy, see something Charlie. Little boo, but God's got him. And I'm gonna miss everybody out of rolling flows like I ain't looked at a while. Like I'm playing for dust and they play too deep for beachside. Little legs I got too deep. Tell me your feature deceased, would it please? Marry me by my grand, new way. You can't go follow
God bless you, working on a plan to heaven.
Backbone Wrestling Network, welcome back to the CrosUp, your weekly look back at the week that was in professional wrestling. This week I'll be running through the results and happenings from Raw on February the 9th to Grand Slam Collision on the 14th, aka Valentine's Day, as well as the TNA No Surrender special event that they had on Friday. We are going to start with Raw, though. CM Punk is back, and AJ Lee is with him tonight as they kind of walk into the arena. They kind of walk in front of Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch sees that AJ Lee is here tonight and is obviously very pissed to see that she exists in the same place as her. We go to the commentary table to kind of start off with. They inform us that Braun Breaker has suffered an injury and undergone surgery on a hernia. So he is out of action indefinitely. They don't really have a timeline on it. They're pretty sure he's going to be back by WrestleMania, but obviously we're going to have to go on Raw with the Vision going forward without him. So we'll see how that kind of affects the Mania plans. I'm assuming him versus Rollins is still on the table. Rollins obviously recovering from his own injury, so the injury bug seems to not want that match to happen. But hopefully both guys will be recovered in time and they can have a banger on the biggest stage. So, but going back to Becky Lynch, she comes out. She says she's tired of the disrespect. Right as she says that, AJ Lee comes out to interrupt her. Becky doesn't like AJ being here to support her friend Maxine Dupree and insults AJ's eyebrows before calling her a little chihuahua who keeps barking and ruining Becky's life. AJ thinks that's a tad dramatic before going on to list the things that she has done to Becky over the last year, including beating her a couple of times as well as costing her the Intercontinental Championship that she's gotten back, obviously, but obviously she cost her and Maxine won the title from her for a little bit. AJ thinks that everything that they've anything that's happened between them over the last year is kind of water under the bridge. Becky responds and says, "There is no water and there is no bridge." Becky starts just going wacky. She just starts making noises and really going after AJ and issues a challenge for her at Elimination Chamber where she can spill AJ's blood. AJ obviously responds and says, "Aw, Becky, I knew you liked me." She says she thinks since she beat Becky Lynch previously that she should be the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship. But Becky doesn't think that she deserves a title match. She just wants to have kind of a grudge match. AJ then says, "No title, no match." And then she starts to kind of leave, but Becky then begrudgingly kind of agrees to make it an Intercontinental Championship match. Becky then says if AJ thinks she has been held down by the man before, she has no idea what being in the ring with her one-on-one will feel like. We then have our World Tag Team title match. The Usos retain against the Alpha Academy when they hit the 1D on Otis. After the match, they shake hands. Respect is shown. The Usos then start to get interviewed. They kind of ask Jay what's next. He doesn't. He just talks about continuing to defend the tag team titles. But Jimmy hops on the microphone and says he wants Jay to qualify for the Elimination Chamber and go back to WrestleMania and become world champion once again. We then go back to last week. We look at CM Punk and Roman Reigns face-to-face, setting up their World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania. We then go to the Judgment Day Clubhouse for a bit. Or they may have been on the ring. I can't really remember. Liv Morgan has something to say, but first Dominic Mysterio has some flowers for her. Liv says that that's what should be done for Valentine's Day. and he'll get his gift from her later. She knows that whomever she faces at WrestleMania will lose, and she will become champion. Stephanie Vaquer then comes out to interrupt. Vaquer says that Liv Morgan talks too much, and then she starts speaking Spanish. Obviously, Liv doesn't understand what she's saying, but she asks Dom for translation. Dom doesn't think he should translate what she just said, but instead responds with some insults in Spanish for himself on Liv's behalf. Liv then asked what he said, and Stephanie Vaquer said he said he's a little bitch. Obviously, Dom doesn't like this too much. They continue to argue back and forth a little bit. Uh, Morgan then insults her in Spanish, and then Dom kind of gets in Stephanie's face, and he gets a slap for kind of Liv and his trouble. So seems like it's going to go Vaquer and Liv going towards WrestleMania, but Liv does show up on SmackDown, so we'll see what she eventually chooses. We then get an Elimination Chamber qualifying match. Rhea Ripley defeats Lyra Valkyria and Ivy Nile when she hits Riptide on Lyra, and obviously that qualifies her for the Elimination Chamber with Tiffany Stratton. Those are the two so far. We then go back to the back, and Dominic Mysterio gets informed that he is in an Elimination Chamber qualifying match next week, but he also has to defend the Intercontinental title coming up pretty soon. For now, though, Dom tries to calm Finn Balor down, but Balor wants the world title. Dom thinks that Balor's window might be closed because obviously Punk and Reigns are facing each other at WrestleMania. But Finn is tired of being an afterthought. He thought that the Judgment Day was supposed to be family and leaves, kind of walks away, and then Dom tries to kind of go after him, saying they are family, but obviously Finn was on a mission. We then go to Michael Cole. He is in the ring to introduce CM Punk, but Finn Balor comes in to interrupt and grabs the mic. Balor knows that Punk is hurt, but everyone is talking about Punk versus Roman Reigns. Balor had Punk beat, and he's tired of being pushed around. He wants Punk for the title at the Elimination Chamber, but Adam Pearce comes out, and he says that we're not doing things like this right now. Pearce tells Balor that the title is spoken for, so forget about it and get out of here. CM Punk that comes out, who says Balor is his first thought instead of being an afterthought. Punk thinks Balor deserves a beating instead of a title shot, and tells him to get off the announce table and come in and get your beating. Balor wants the title on the line, so Punk says, let's do it. Pearce says no, but Punk says give him the match he wants, or Punk will spend the rest of the show beating Balor up around the arena. Pearce says the match is on, but it's at Elimination Chamber. They kind of implied a little bit that it was tonight, so the crowd kind of boos and kind of gets disinterested after this gets kind of announced. So, they'll face each other at Elimination Chamber, but the live crowd at the show was kind of disheartened by that announcement. With all that out of the way, Punk is ready for his scheduled interview, with Cole asking what Punk is doing, jeopardizing his WrestleMania main event. Punk says he isn't jeopardizing anything because he is trying to build things up. He is trying to get one step better every day, and he knows this is a risky way to go. These people deserve this, and he knows it could end anywhere in any city in front of any crowd, but he is confident enough to know that shit isn't going to happen in his hometown of Chicago. The only way WrestleMania ends is with his hand raised and the ring announcer saying, and still World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk. So we'll see how that works out for him. Obviously, I think he'll beat Finn at Elimination Chamber, but and they just want to give him a match in his hometown in front of his home crowd. So that's really all that's all about. And that's kind of why they're doing the Becky AJ match in Chicago as well. Even though AJ's not really from Chicago, she just lives there, obviously, because she's married to Punk. But getting them both on the card there is most definitely just to kind of get the home crowd pop. So we then go to Adam Pearce. He makes sure Finn Balor is out of the building, but the Vision come up to interrupt him. Paul Heyman underestimated Adam Pearce because he kept pushing Braun Breaker, who injured himself lifting some weights early in the morning, and he had to undergo major hernia surgery. Pearce stands up and says he knows Breaker is one of the keys to WWE's future. He wants Breaker back more than anyone, but we need to focus on the here and now. That includes Austin Theory having an Elimination Chamber qualifying match later tonight. Pierce also tells Division to stay out of the match and says that's not an order, that's a threat. Heyman says there it is, and that's all he needed to hear from Adam Pierce. Logan Paul then comes in and asks Adam Pierce what he'll do if the team interferes, but implies that it's a rhetorical question because they'll do what they want either way. Bronson Reed then comes in to kind of split Logan and Pierce up. And Bronson Reed eerily kind of says, "Don't worry about Pierce. He's my problem now." So we'll see if Bronson Reed kind of takes out Adam Pierce in the coming weeks and months as we head towards WrestleMania. But he implied that he's his problem, so we'll see what happens with that. We then get Natty versus Maxine. It ends in a double countout as Natty just continuously pummels Maxine on the outside of the ring. After the match, Natty gets Maxine on top of the announcer's table and locks in the sharpshooter. AJ, being Maxine's best friend, apparently runs in to save her. But Becky Lynch comes out as well and throws AJ into the post and just continues to kind of beat her down until security pulls her away because Becky's pretty much snapped and can't stand AJ to the point where she's going to beat her down every time she sees her. We then go to LA Knight. He is ready to qualify for the Elimination Chamber and wants to take a chance away from the Vision, and that means beating Austin Theory in the match later tonight. We then get Javon Evans and his mystery partner, the OG Grande Americano, defeating the Los Americanos of Bravo and Rayo when the OG Americano hits the diving headbutt on Bravo for the win. After the match, the two Grande Americanos kind of go after each other. They both try to take each other's mask off, but they both end up not being successful as the second El Grande Americano kind of scurries away once the OG kind of tries to take it away. We then look at Gunther's celebration last week after he had defeated AJ Styles and the beatdown that he laid on Dragon Lee. Gunther is annoyed as he's being told that he has an elimination qualifying match next week because he already knows that he's going to have one because he's who he is. His road to WrestleMania should have started when he beat Bill Goldberg, but the result will be the same because he will leave WrestleMania as the new WWE champion. And then we get our main event Elimination Chamber qualifying match. LA Knight defeats Penta and Austin Theory when the Masked Man shows up, stomps Theory, throws him back in the ring, and LA Knight finishes things off with the BFT. And that qualifies him for the Elimination Chamber. LA Knight then grabs the mic and promises more for the Vision, and Pierce kind of glares at Heyman to end the show. So the Vision's plans did not work out in this match because they pretty constantly interfered. But obviously the Masked Man seems to be a continuous thorn in their side. Obviously it's supposed to imply they're Seth Rollins, but we'll see who it actually ends up being as the weeks go on. But as far as best match, that main event was pretty good, but the Alpha Academy versus the Usos was actually really, really entertaining. The Alphas are one of those teams that has can get a good bit of crowd reaction. Tozawa is actually a lot better of a wrestler than people give him credit for. He's good at getting the crowd behind him. They kind of made you believe at certain points that they may win the match. I mean, it didn't seem too likely going in. And with the Usos kind of gaining momentum, you didn't think they probably would, but they had a good match enough to where it seemed like at points you could buy in that the Alphas were going to take it. But obviously the Usos win at the end of the day, but really good tag match. And that would be the best match for Raw for me. We're going to go to NXT. We open with Joe Hendry. Obviously, he won the NXT Championship last week. He says he is the new NXT champion, but he wasn't sure he was going to get there. Last week he was on the floor in pain, but he looked up at Ricky Saints and said he got up there to make sure he didn't win the championship and won it for himself. He's becoming a 2-time national amateur wrestling champion in England was a step, just like winning the TNA world title and facing Randy Orton at WrestleMania. The Vanity Project then come out to interrupt him, and Jackson Drake says he's ready to run through a wall or take Joe's title. They kind of brawled. Obviously, Hendry gets the kind of advantage first, but the numbers catch up on him. And then Jackson Drake kind of makes fun of Joe's pose after the beatdown and holds up the NXT title. So they'll actually face each other in an NXT Championship match later on in the show. So this actually leads to a match. We go to Zarya and Sol Ruca. They obviously continuing to have some tension and arguments. Zarya asks why it can't be her this time. And Ruka says, good talk, I guess, as Zarya kind of walks away. So Zarya wants her to be the one that gets the pinfall in a tag match later to get the number one contendership that we will have at the end of the show. We then go to Jada Parker. She is ready to dole out an ass beating to anyone who gets in her way, especially Blake Monroe. We then go to Keanu Carver. He wants the next shot at the NXT title, but Robert Stone says Jackson Drake is getting it as Shawn Michaels wants chaos. Carver is fine with delivering some chaos, but Robert Stone tries to kind of stop him and kind of say things or say something to kind of say he wants chaos, but not, the kind of chaos that Carver can dole out. And then Robert Stone being kind of the sniffly little heel he is, he starts to kind of cut him off, but obviously he's just like, you know what, never mind. And they kind of glare at each other as Keanu walks away. We then have Blake Monroe versus Jada Parker. It also ends in a double count out. So two double count outs and two shows in a row. They kind of end up just outside brawling around until the ref obviously counts to 10. After the match, they continue to brawl with Parker taking out both Blake Monroe and some security. And as Parker's kind of dealing with the security, Blake Monroe kind of bails through the crowd to get away. We then get Tatum Paxley. She talks about how it feels, or how it felt like she was drowning and struggling to breathe around Izzy Dame and the culling. She tried to become what Dame wanted her to be, but she had to let it go. It let her become what she knew she was and needed to be, and that's to become the version of Tatum Paxley that we see today that she needs to be going forward to be successful. We then have Cale Dixon. He yells at Uriah Connors for walking out on Chase U last week. Connors says that Andre Chase held them back, and then Stax, Ariana Grace, and Lexis King come in, and they seem to have Connors in their wings now, as he seems to want to do some kind of, he wants to do some recruiting for him. So Uriah Connors is all but left Chase U and seems to be in this kind of nepotism group. That seems to want to kind of recruit Charlie Dempsey as well. And Uriah actually kind of steps up and says, our dads used to be buddies back in the day, so let me do some talking to him. So we'll see what that ends up being. We then get a speed tournament match. Eli Knight defeats Josh Briggs via pinfall following a top rope moonsault. This advances him to the finals to face Elio LaFleur for a shot at the speed title that Jasper Troy holds. Elio LaFleur comes out. They shake hands and kind of stare off for a minute. But Jasper Troy actually comes in and lays both of them out, obviously showing that whichever one of them face him after their match is going to get the same beating that they just received. We then get Lola Vice. She gets her hand looked at and is ready to face Kalani Jordan next week. But Kalani Jordan comes up from behind, obviously, and jumps her and goes after her hand some more. We then go to Keanu Carver. He has wrecked some people backstage. He has blown through Sean Legacy and Andre Chase. They're both laid out in this situation. We then go to Dark State. Deion Lennox wants the NXT title, but Cutler James isn't sure what Tony D'Angelo was thinking last week. They haven't forgotten about the culling either. The culling then come out on the platform and say they aren't charging into this kind of disadvantage. The lights go out and OTM say they're here for the tag team titles as well. Hank and Tank pop up to say that they want the belts too. But then Tony D'Angelo comes out and beats down all of Dark State as they kind of scurry away. We then go back we come back from commercial, and Robert Stone makes a 3-way number one contenders match for the tag team titles next week against the 3 teams that came out: OTM, the Culling, and Hank and Tank. Robert Stone then runs into Shiloh Hill. He has a Jason mask on for some reason. But Ethan Page comes in to say that Shiloh needs to leave as he and Mr. Stone need to talk business. Shiloh Hill does leave, and Page tells Stone that he wants to set the record for the most North American title defenses in one single reign. Page says he's already beaten everyone around here and from TNA. But Shiloh comes back in to get his machete that he left earlier, and he kind of asks if he can have the title shot, and Mr. Stone says that sounds good, and Ethan Page will face Shiloh Hill next week for the North American Championship. We then get our NXT title match where Joe Hendry defeats Jackson Drake via pinfall following the standing ovation. After the match, though, Ricky Saints comes in a hoodie and lays out Joe Hendry, as that seems to be our main event program kind of going forward, which was, not that surprising. We then go to Kendall Gray and Sinclair. They fire each other up before their tag team main events against Zaruka for the number one contendership for the women's NXT championship. We then go to Dark State. They're pissed about earlier. They're ready for whichever team wins the number one contenders match. And Cutler James says he'll take care of Tony D'Angelo himself next week as well. So Cutler James stepping up and making sure that all the other guys can kind of focus on their goals ahead. We then get Swipe Right of Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes. They defeat Hank and Tank when Jackson Drake interferes, attacking Tank while the referee's distracted, and that allows Brad Baylor to get a surprise roll-up victory from there. So, obviously Hank and Tank being in the title match, you would think this earns Swipe Right a spot, and we may see that going on later. We then get Sean Legacy. He's pissed about getting attacked by Keanu Carver earlier. He wants to face him in 2 weeks. And he says, yeah, Carver will beat him up during the match, but Carver will know that he's been in a fight because Sean Legacy is going to bring everything that Keanu Carver brings to him and more back in the other direction. We then go to Robert Stone. Like I said, he informs the Vanity Project, aka Swipe Right, that they're in the number one contender match next week. Miles Bourne then comes in and isn't happy that he's not the one getting the North American title shot. But Robert Stone tells him it's time for him to do something for him that's out of character. So we'll see what Miles Bourne takes with that advice. So, Mr. Stone basically saying that's why he's not getting any opportunities is because he's kind of cookie cutter and kind of plays by the rules a little too much, that he needs to kind of go out of his comfort zone. And then we get our main event where Zaruka defeats the Ren QCC when Soul hits an absolutely incredibly botched Soul Snatcher on Kendall Gray, and she gets the pin. I think those two were the legal people in the match. Zarya had hit the F5 and was pinning Ren, but unfortunately Soul and Kendall were the legal people in the match. So Soul gets the pinfall. She's the number one contender for the women's NXT women's title, and Zarya is pissed after the match. But Fatal Influence come out to kind of talk some trash to Soul from ringside after the match to end the show. So Zarya still pissed that she's not getting opportunities, but Soul, obviously being the kind of top dog, that's not the champion in NXT, gets the number one contendership against JC Jane. But as far as best match on NXT, I would go with that main event. The tag team match had some good energy to it, had some stakes. So I would definitely go with that one as far as best match on NXT. But we'll go from there to Dynamite. Tony Schiavone is in the ring to start things out. Kenny Omega and Swerve Strickland come out to get interviewed, as they've seemed to have some tensions over the last couple of weeks. Swerve says Omega was on the top of his game 5 years ago, and everyone wanted to face him, including Swerve himself. It took him 2 years to get to the top of AEW, but then Omega was nowhere to be found. Omega was either in a hospital bed or suspended, and in his absence, AEW needed someone to step up into that role. Then everyone was shouting Swerve's house, but now Omega wants to come back and take his spot. It sounds like he's using his EVP powers, and Strickland is ready to knock another one of them down, as he's obviously taken the Bucks out of that position before. Omega said that people called him the god of professional wrestling, and that's in the eye of the beholder, but he takes that as a personal responsibility. Now the fans want Omega back, and so while it may be Swerve's house, there might not be any lights on in said house. Omega knows someone who can burn down a house for him, and he's ready to face Swerve. That's where this is going to go. Swerve offers to put Omega back in the hospital bed, so Omega slaps him, which Swerve says is Omega making a choice. They start to brawl. They go up on the stage. Swerve escapes a one-winged angel attempt off the stage, and they both kind of fall off the stage through a table on a spear attempt. So, pretty hot opening segment. That would be a really good match at a pay-per-view if it's going to happen at Revolution in early March. We then go to Kyle Fletcher. He is ready to regain his TNT Championship tonight, and he says he didn't need any help, and Don Callis can just sit back and watch as he gets his belt back. We then get the Death Riders of John Moxley, Claudio, and Peck defeating the Don Callis family of Takeshita, Josh Alexander, and Mark Davis when Mox hits the Death Rider on Josh Alexander for the win. We then go to our TNT Championship match, and Kyle Fletcher regains his TNT Championship, defeating Tommaso Ciampa via pinfall following the Brainbuster. And obviously, like I said, he becomes the new TNT champion. After the match, Fletcher is proud of his title win, and he is ready for his hero's welcome when he goes home to Australia this weekend. He'll even defend the title against anyone, so here's Mark Briscoe to interrupt. He's proud of Fletcher for winning again, but brings up that their series is tied 3-3. So he's willing to give Fletcher home field advantage. Fletcher is sick of Briscoe, but wants it to be bigger than ever. And they will have Game 7, their 7th match, their final match in Australia in a ladder match. So he makes it a ladder match on his home turf. We then get the Babes of Wrath. We get a kind of a package on them, talking about them defending their women's tag team championships against Mega Bad, a.k.a. Penelope Ford, and Megan Bayne on Saturday at Grand Slam Collision. We then go to Orange Cassidy and Roddy Strong defeating Daniel Garcia and Clark Connors when Darby Allin comes out and takes out Connors, allowing Cassidy to get a surprise roll-up on Garcia for the win. After the match, Toni Storm pops up on the platform and says that if Marina Shafir can knock her out, she can shave her head bald. But Storm will be the most beautiful bald woman in the world. On the other hand, though, Storm plans to shave her so bald that they'll sell Shafir's head at Spirit Halloween. Wheeler Yuta then comes out with a microphone and says, "Bring her out." Shafir has Mina Shirikawa in Mother's Milk, kind of choking her out, and they actually cut some of Mina's hair off as a symbol of what they're going to do to Orange and Tony on Saturday. We go to last week. Don Callis praised Andrade El Idolo for continuing to win some big matches, and Andrade threatens Hangman Page, who he'll face later on this week at Grand Slam Australia. We then go to Hangman Page's side of things. He wanted to face Kenny Omega, but obviously he knows Andrade is somebody that he needs to take seriously, and he threatens Andrade with a beating and an obvious victory when we get there on Saturday. We then go to Jet Speed, who are Hangman's Trios tag team partners. They are looking for challengers for the Trios titles, but they also want singles gold on their own. We then go to a number one contendership for the World Tag Team titles, and the Young Bucks defeat the Rascals and the returning Private Party when the Young Bucks hit the TK driver on Myron Reed of the Rascals. After the match, FTR comes down for a stare down. Dax Harwood says they're both great teams, but FTR are ahead on points and are just a generally better team. The Bucks needed to make their own company to become top stars. And obviously this pisses off the Bucks, and they super kick FTR for this. And then the Bucks kind of act like they're going to do it to Stokely, but Stokely kind of cowers away and kind of cowers, and they leave him alone. We then get another Will Ospreay kind of, teasing his return video. We then get a video of MJF versus Brody King for the world title on Saturday. That's another big match that they're going to have at Grand Slam. But yeah, just kind of a hype for their match. And then we got our main event for the women's world title. Tekla becomes our new women's world champion, defeating Chris Statlander in the strap match after the Sisters of Sin had interfered. Tekla hits a spear. She ties Chris Statlander's hands behind her back with the strap, and then she hits the stomp and pins her shoulders to the mat. And like I said, Tekla becomes your new AEW Women's World Champion. After the match, the Sisters of Sin and Tekla continue to beat down Statlander, but the Brawling Birds of Alex Windsor and Jamie Hayter come out to make the save. Uh, Statlander's been teaming with the Babes of Wrath, but they kind of imply that the Babes of Wrath are already in Australia for the show this weekend. So they had the Brawling Birds kind of come out and save her here. So um, awesome episode of Dynamite. Collision or Grand Slam Australia, whatever you want to call it, follows that suit. So this was a really great week for AEW, but an awesome Dynamite here. Ciampa and Fletcher would be my match of the night, but you could pick between pretty much everything. It was a really good wrestling show, top to bottom, set up a lot of good stuff. But Fletcher and Ciampa would be my match of the night for Dynamite. We then go to Impact. From there, we have Moose coming out to start things. Moose wouldn't usually come out here and talk about people leaving him laying because he isn't a little bitch. 2 years ago, he created the system, and he knows exactly what he needs to do to dismantle it. There's one man back there who knows how to take out the system one by one. So Mike Santana comes out. He knows the two of them have fought each other face to face, so now it's time for them to fight together against the system. Now they just need the Hardys for later on tonight. Daria Ray then interrupts for some reason. She says any violence they're planning before the match tonight needs to stop, and they can unleash the violence in the main event, but they don't need to do anything before that. And then obviously Moose and Santana listen to this, and they go to the back after the segment's over. We then get Ryan Nemeth. He gets interviewed. He says he's ready to beat Mara Sade once and for all or get rid of her once and for all in a street fight later on tonight. We then go to Alicia Edwards. She apologizes to Moose for what happened, says she didn't know anything was going to happen that happened, and says her contract is coming up, but she might honestly leave before that happens. And Moose believes her and appreciates the apology and all that. We then get Nick Nemeth. He defeats Rich Swann via pinfall when he reverses a lethal injection attempt into a danger zone to get the win. We then go to Zaya Brookside and Indy Hartwell. They are ready to watch Lei Ying Lee retain the Knockouts title at No Surrender, but they want the Knockouts tag team titles for themselves, so they'll face the Elegance brand at No Surrender as well. We then get the Righteous. They can't wait to team with the Hardys at No Surrender when they face Order 4. Fear is just a 4-letter word, and they are honored to team with the Hardys because this is going according to plan. We then get Eric Young out to cut a promo. Young hates how this place has gone, and it's time for a cleanse. That starts with BDE, who needs to come out here and answer Young's offer to join him. BDE comes out, and Eric says that he doesn't understand BDE, but knows that they need his voice and reach to have the cleanse happen. Now, so he says, which side is BDE on? BDE says he doesn't need Young or his imaginary friends, so the answer is a big no. They obviously brawl from there. Young hits him with a pile driver. He ends up shoving one of the female referees. Then he pile drives a couple of different security guards, one on the floor on the outside. We then we come back from commercial. Santino suspends Eric Young, but Daria Ray comes in and reverses it and says that Eric Young will face BDE at No Surrender on Friday. We then go to Mara Sade. She defeats Ryan Nemeth via pinfall when she crotches him on the top rope, and she super kicks him down and gets the victory. So they kind of traded victories back and forth here. So obviously might have a rubber match going forward. We then get Steph DeLander and Mance Warner. They kind of reintroduce themselves and explain their love for each other and their love for violence. So maybe we'll see him at No Surrender as well. We then go to video of kind of Elijah's, rivalry with Order 4 and more specifically Ali over the last few months. Elijah did not like that Mustafa Ali prayed asking God to stop Elijah from being in their lives. And Elijah actually challenges Ali to a guitar case casket match on Impact for next week. So it is going to be a casket in a shape of guitar. and they will have a casket match next week on Impact. So that's going to be seriously interesting to see. They kind of break it out on the No Surrender show that I'll talk about in a minute, but pretty interesting concept there. We then go to Ariana Gray. She thanks her father, Santino Marella, for her knockouts title shot, No Surrender. But then she steals his Cobra sock puppet that she is going to use in the match, or she thinks she's going to use in the match later on, or on Friday, obviously. And then we get our main event. The System defeats the Hardys, Moose, and Santana when Jeff gets crotched on a top swanton attempt, and then Bear Bronson hits a Fire Thunder driver to get the victory. The main event was a solid match, but as far as best match for me, I would go with Rich Swann versus Nick Nemeth. They got a good bit of time, and those guys are two talented workers that, when put with each other, can have a really solid match. So I would go with that one for best match on Impact. We'll then go to SmackDown. We open with Tiffany Stratton. She had the best rookie year anyone could imagine, and it's time for her to get her title back. That means winning the Elimination Chamber. This brings out Nia Jax and Lash Legend. Stratton asks Nia why she is so obsessed with her, but Lash Legend isn't having any of that. Her insulting her sister. They're ready to win the women's tag team titles tonight, and then Nia will win the Elimination Chamber, or they could just take Tiffany out right now, which brings Rhea Ripley and Io Sky out to interrupt. Ripley says the two of them are going to the Elimination Chamber and clear it out before fighting each other for the right to go to WrestleMania. For now, though, they're going to beat up Nia Jax and Lash Legend and keep their championships. And that kind of happens, but the match between Rhea and Io versus Nia Jax and Lash Legend ends in kind of they called it a double DQ on any site that I looked at, but it was really just kind of a no contest. They kind of just started brawling on the outside. It wasn't a count out per se, but I think in the record books it's technically a double DQ, but basically a no contest. They brawl on the outside. The ref eventually throws out the match. They brawl. They continue to brawl. Lash Legend sets up a table. Rhea Ripley kind of fights off the table because Nia was going to splash her through it. Nia then ends up on the apron, and Io Sky kind of spears her through the ropes, and her and Nia kind of end up going through the table. So, and then Lash Legend ends up spearing Rhea through the barricade. So a big brawl to kind of end the match, which, like I said, kind of ended in a no contest, but solid little brawl for what it was worth. We then go to Cody Rhodes. He says he could rant on and on about what happened last week, or he could be the golden boy that Nick Aldis wants him to be. The pressure adds up on you over the years, but he is 2 wins away from main eventing WrestleMania once again, and he is ready for what tonight's fight has in store for him. We then get Carmelo Hayes. He runs into Apollo Crews and Matt Cardona, who would love a shot at the U.S. title. Hayes says he's fine with either of them getting a shot, but tonight's open challenge has been taken. Hayes keeps walking and runs into The Miz, who says Carmelo is testing Miz's 3 core values. Those would be Master, Inspire, and Zone In, with Miz wanting to teach Hayes a lesson. Hayes hopes that Miz teaches better than he wrestles and walks away. Cardona and Apollo then come in to mock Miz, saying that Zone In is one word, or making fun of the fact that Miz thinks Zone In is one word instead of 2. So they kind of goof on the Miz a little bit. We then get an Aleister Black promo. He says he's not done with Randy Orton. Kind of talks about him kind of sneaking the match away from him last week. And then Zelina wants to take Alexa Bliss and Julia out tonight so she can have her spot in the Elimination Chamber. When they have Carmelo Hayes come out for a chat, he's been on a roll lately and says he has a chance to make it to WrestleMania. So he'll start there next week by qualifying for the Elimination Chamber. For now, though, Ilya Dragunov can come out and get his U.S. title shot that he's earned. We have Ilya come out. It seems like the match is going to happen, but Solo Sikoa and his MFTs come out to interrupt. Sikoa wants the title shot, but Dragunov brings up the MFTs abandoning him last week. That's too far for Solo, so Hayes issues a challenge for a tag team title match instead. Instead, all members of the MFTs run in, and then Apollo Crews and Matt Cardona come out, and help kind of fight off the MFTs, who eventually get beaten down as well. Shinsuke Nakamura then comes out, and the good guys are able to clear the ring away. And then Nick Aldis comes out and makes a 10-man tag, which the MFTs defeat Hayes, Nakamura, Dragunov, Cruz, and Cardona when Tama hits the cutthroat on Carmelo. After the match, the Wyatt Six then pop up on the screen for a stare down with Sikoa and crew. Obviously, this seems to set up Tama Tonga as a possible number one contender for Carmelo Hayes' U.S. title. So we'll see if and when he gets this shot, because he pins the champ here. We then look back at Charlotte eliminating Alexa from the Royal Rumble. Charlotte apologizes to Alexa and asks her to be her galentine, complete with black flowers and an autographed photo. She'll even be in Bliss's corners in an effort to woo her into being her galentine. So we then have Damian Priest and R-Truth there in Nick Aldis' office, with Aldis saying Priest is in an Elimination Chamber qualifier next week with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. Kit Wilson then comes in to read a poem about Nick Aldis being toxic. R-Truth finds it funny and rhymes about Kit getting beaten up by Obafemi last week. We then get Alexa Bliss. She defeats Julia and Zelina when she hits the Sister Abigail DDT on Zelina. This qualifies Alexa for the Elimination Chamber. We then get Tiffany Stratton. She meets Jordan Grace, with the two of them agreeing that they would love to face each other at WrestleMania. Jordan leaves, and Chelsea Green, riding in a wheelchair, obviously due to her foot injury from last week, comes in and wants an apology from Stratton for injuring her last week. Stratton says if Chelsea wants one, she should step up and ask. Oh, but she never mind. She can't step up and do anything. So obviously makes fun of the fact that her foot is hurt. We then go to video of kind of Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu's back and forth over the last month or so. We then get Rey Fenix. He is warming up when Sami Zayn comes in to tell him to teach Trick Williams a lesson later. Zayn says he wasn't all there last week, but thanks Phoenix for his kind words. And Phoenix is ready to fight Trick tonight. That fight wasn't enough, though, as Trick Williams defeats Rey Fenix via pinfall following a trick shot. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky are then in the back. They're banged up, but Julia and Kiana James come in to threaten them and say they want another shot at the tag titles. Julia has to be dragged away, but Jade Cargill comes in for a stare down as well. We then get video of Jordan Grace and Jade Cargill's kind of rivalry over the last month or so. We then go to Jacob Fatu. He knows what it's like to be locked up with no one to hear you. He's not scared of the Elimination Chamber because now there's a WrestleMania sign to point to while he's locked up in that cage. We then get Jade Cargill. She defeats Jordan Grace via pinfall following a one-armed Jaded. After the match, Liv Morgan, who had come to sit ringside for the match, Jade kind of comes out of the ring with her championship, gets in Morgan's face, and kind of threatens her. So obviously that championship match is still on the line, or a possibility, as Liv is kind of playing the field. Johnny Gargano then rants to Candice LeRae, saying that he has nothing left. His championship's gone. His best friend's gone. Candice then says, "I'm right here. I'm your wife." Gargano kind of blows that off, and Candice says she'll fix this before wheeling him away. Fraxium and the Motor City Machine Guns are amused by what they just saw, but the MFT show up, and they don't like being stared at and say until the Motor City Machine Guns and Fraxium to get in line. And then they go to their locker room. There's a Wyatt Six inspired drawing of Solo Sikoa on the door of their locker room, and Sikoa rips it off and is pissed about it. We then get video of Obafemi continuing to hype him up. Obviously, Femi is in the back with Nick Aldis, who seems to be offering him a SmackDown contract. Kit Wilson comes in, and Aldis yells at him for interrupting, but Wilson has yet another poem. It's kind of an insult poem about Obafemi. Aldis grabs the book, and like I said, it's about Oba being a little man in a big man's body, and Femi, kind of cackles or kind of giggles at it a little bit, but wants a match with Kit to get his wish, or for Kit to get his wish next week, because it seems like he wants to kind of have another match with Oba. Drew then gets interviewed, says he isn't worried about anyone who has qualified for Elimination Chamber or anyone who might qualify later. This includes Sami Zayn, who pops up and says, "Oh, keep going. You're insulting me, so keep going." And thinks McIntyre still hates him. Actually, McIntyre says Zayn should win tonight because he earned it. And Zayn seems very confused by the sudden respect that Drew seems to be showing him. And then we got our main event where Cody Rhodes defeats Sami Zayn and Jacob Fatu when Drew interferes, and Sami is able to boot him away, but Cody Rhodes then catches him in a crossroads, and this qualifies him for the Elimination Chamber. So based on kind of the interview before this match and how this match kind of went, Drew kind of tried to take out Cody and Jacob and help Sami win, but it didn't work out. It seems like definitely they're at least going for a triple threat between Fatu, Rhodes, and McIntyre, which with Rhodes obviously winning the Elimination Chamber. But I could even see them going with a fatal four-way at this point. If you're going to do a multi-man, give Sami a big spot on WrestleMania as well. So I could see all three of these guys ending up in a WWE Championship match going forward. So we'll see. But a solid episode of SmackDown. There are quite a few matches you could pick from for best match. I thought Jade and Jordan Grace was very good. There was a tag match earlier in the show that I thought was good. And the 10-man actually didn't end up being that bad either. So, but main event, Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Jacob Fatu would be my match of the night. But really solid up and down, up top to bottom episode of SmackDown for me. So probably the best WWE episode of TV in a while. But we'll go from there. We go to No Surrender. We open with a women's battle royal, or a knockouts battle royal, who will get a future knockouts title match. Jody Threat wins this, last eliminating Tessa Blanchard. Tessa Blanchard had actually thought she had won the match, and Jody had kind of snuck up from behind and attacked her and thrown her out. The other participants in this match were Mara Sade, Rosemary, Victoria Crawford, Mila Moore, Mila Grace, Harley Hudson, Jada Stone, Tasha Steelz, and Elena Black. We then go to Leon Slater and Mike Santana. They are ready for tonight's main event against Eddie Edwards and Nick Nemeth, with Santana wanting to keep the grass mode so he can take everything in front of him down. Slater is glad to be back. Obviously, he's had visa issues over the last month or so. And he says, despite the fact that the other side of the team has opportunities to get Mike Santana's world title, that Slater isn't even thinking about option C tonight. He might think about it later, but he's not thinking about it tonight. Santana then threatens to eat Nick Nemeth and Eddie Edwards alive tonight, and that is a promise, not a threat. A promise and a threat, really. They then show Jelly Roll is in the crowd. They're in Nashville, so obviously the country music scene's big around there. And Jelly Roll loves him some wrestling, so he is in attendance for No Surrender. Trey Miguel then defeats Stax via pinfall with the lightning spiral, and this makes Trey Miguel the new TNA International Champion, so Stax is now beltless. We then get AJ Francis. He comes out for an unscheduled appearance. Francis talks about the Seattle Seahawks winning the Super Bowl and compares himself to Bad Bunny. They're both rappers, they're both wrestlers, and they're both stars. As for Jelly Roll, if he wants to cross the line, he'll see why TNA J. Francis's place is here. He'll be on commentary for the rest of the night, and when he joins commentary, Tom Hannafin has the great line of, what did I do to deserve this pain? I thought it was pretty funny. We then get Mance Warner defeating Action Mike Jackson, the old man himself. He wins via pinfall with the pay window. After the match, though, Mance tells Action Jackson that he's still got it, and they shake hands, and Steph DeLander comes in and does the same. AJ Francis comes off commentary and says this is pathetic. Francis yells at Steph DeLander and blames her for ruining Mance Warner and what he once was. Mance then gets in AJ Francis's face, and Francis storms off, being pissed that Mance isn't the tough guy that he used to be. So AJ, despite saying he'd be on commentary the rest of the night, did one match. We then go to Ariana Grace in the back. She yells at Stacks for losing his title earlier, screwing up, and she threatens to break up with him if anything else goes wrong tonight, and then he can eat all the Valentine's candy by himself instead of together. We then have the Elegance brand. They defeat Zaya Brookside and Indy Hartwell when they hit the nip and tuck on Indy Hartwell. Indy Hartwell had gotten her foot on the rope, but Ash by Elegance was at ringside and pushed her foot off before the ref could see it. We then have Mickey James, who is obviously from Nashville. She comes out and helps Indy and Zaya after the match as the Elegance brand started to kind of beat them down. And she, fends off Ash, and the other two fend off the other two. We then go to Eric Young. He defeats BDE via pinfall following a pile driver. We then go to Jody Threat. She is happy with her win and gets some applause from the other knockouts in the locker room. Tessa Blanchard and her crew kind of come in, and Tessa says that she should have won the Battle Royal, and they make up a match for Impact. I don't know if it's for the number one contendership or if it's just kind of for some revenge. I don't think they quite announced that, but we'll see when we get around to Impact next week. We then have Ariana Grace. She defeats Lei Ying Lee via pinfall when Stacks distracts Lee long enough for Grace to get her father's Cobra out. Wink, wink. And follows it with a fireman's carry facebuster. And Ariana Grace is your new Knockouts world champion. So definitely a surprising result. After what was kind of threatened earlier, I kind of felt like she was going to win. But this is going to be used to kind of threaten Santino and his job going forward. So we'll see what this comes to. But with Jody Threat winning the Battle Royal earlier and Danny Luna kind of having visa issues as well, I could see her winning the title pretty soon from Ariana. We'll see how that goes, though. We then go to the back. Rich Swann throws BDE a video game controller, but BDE says he has been playing games for too long. Rich Swann says he is ready to give BDE a tutorial in wrestling. For now, they need to just play the game and chill and hang out. And BDE kind of seems into that idea, so we'll see where that kind of goes. We then get Order 4. They defeat the Hardys and the Righteous when powder is thrown in Dutch's eyes, and he accidentally takes out Matt Hardy. This allows Ali to hit the 450 splash on Matt Hardy and get the pin and the win. After the match, the lights go out, and a big guitar case casket, like I talked about earlier, is pulled out. It's pulled out by some guys that look like Elijah. Ali then goes up to the guitar case casket and opens the door and kind of turns around. And then when he turns back, Elijah had popped up out of it. He kind of throws Ali inside, but as he goes to shut the door, Ali is able to bail out quickly, but continues to kind of hype their casket match for Impact on Thursday. We then go to Santino Marella. He goes to knock on Ariana Grace's door to kind of talk to her about what happened earlier. But Daria Ray comes out instead of Ariana Grace. Daria threatens him if anything happens, and don't bother looking for the sock. He tells her to don't do anything to anyone or he'll be fired, as he is very visibly frustrated that he can't talk to his own daughter. We then go to Leon Slater, or then we go to the main event. Leon Slater and Mike Santana defeat Nick Nemeth and Eddie Edwards when Leon hits the Swanton 450 on Nemeth. This was rampant with system interference. Moose does come out to help and kind of run the system off, and they even kind of battle to the back. So it kind of ends up just being Slater and Nemeth in the ring at the end, all by themselves. So Slater gets the big win on a bigger stage. Kind of just tries to reestablish that he's back. He is the X Division champion, but again, kind of shows that he's joined the kind of higher part of the card on TNA, as he's obviously at NXT title matches, but it also pushes that idea that maybe he's at the world champion level and could cash in that option C option, being the X Division champion. So obviously Nick Nemeth has the Call Your Shot Gauntlet trophy, and Eddie Edwards has the Feast or Fired world title shot. So all three of these guys kind of seem to be gunning for Mike Santana, despite Slater kind of being Santana's friend as well. And Steve Macklin had gotten involved in the match as well and kind of taken out Mike Santana. So, Santana's got 4 or 5 guys coming after him. all at once. So pretty good main event scene going on right now for Impact. So, but the main event was the best match of the show. I thought Order 4 versus the Hardys and the Righteous was another solid match as well. So if you want to check out something from No Surrender, check out those two, as I thought they were the best matches on the night. And then we will finish the week with Grand Slam Australia. Another fantastic show from AEW. We open with John Moxley versus Konosuke Takeshita for the Continental Championship. It goes to a 20-minute time limit draw. And then after the match, Takeshita comes out, or kind of pops back up, lays out Moxley, and hits him with the Raging Fire to kind of stand tall. So they are not done with each other whatsoever. We then get video of Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe's rivalry to this point. Obviously, like I said earlier, they are tied 3-3 in their series. So Game 7, Match 7, whatever you want to call it, is tonight in the ladder match. We then get some words from Chris Statlander. She says she is not done with Tekla and the Sisters of Sin. She is, and then we get kind of Tekla's side of things. She is thrilled with being the new women's champion. We then get the Babes of Wrath. They retain the titles over Megabad when Harley Cameron grabs a backslide on Penelope Ford after she had missed a moonsault attempt. And then we get seemingly a new member of Megabad joining us. Lena Cross comes out and helps Penelope Ford and Megan Bayne lay out the Babes of Wrath. So we have seemingly a third member of Megabad going forward. So I think this kind of maybe opens up Megan Bayne to go for a singles title while Penelope can kind of stay in the tag division at the same time. We then go to Ricochet. He talks about Jack Perry and their matches that they've had previously, and he tells Jack Perry to know when to fold them. So he wants Jack Perry to kind of give up on his pursuit of his national title. We then go to a video of Hangman Page versus Andrade El Idolo, which would be a quasi number one contenders match for the title at Revolution. Hangman Page is successful in winning that match against Andrade El Idolo via pinfall with a buckshot lariat. Like I said, this makes Hangman the number one contender, and we'll have a match with MJF at Revolution. We then go to Orange Cassidy and Tony Storm. They defeat Marina Shafir and Wheeler Yuta when they hit the Orange Punch and Storm Zero back-to-back on Yuta and pin him for the win. And this means that Yuta gets his hair cut off. And he does in the ring. He tries to run away, but Mox, even being the new man that he is, seemingly makes him go back and face the consequences of the stipulation he agreed to. And then we get our ladder match. Kyle Fletcher retains his TNT title in a ladder match against Mark Briscoe. So that was another incredible match. We then get video of MJF and Brody King's rivalry to this point before their world title match. MJF is able to defeat Brody King this time. Not quite a squash as much as it was the last time. But MJF wins with the Heat Seeker. After the match, Hangman Page comes out to sign the contract for the Revolution match. And obviously scares MJF off to end the show. So sets up some big stuff. Like I said, Moxley and Takeshita will probably have a match to pay-per-view. Obviously, Statlander and Tekla are still in each other's lives. But yeah, another great show. That they really built this one up. Had a lot of title matches. And they did some title changes on Dynamite earlier this week. So AEW definitely won the week. 2 fantastic shows. Obviously, I think maybe this coming up week will be a little bit of a come down, but we do have Omega versus Swerve on Dynamite next week as well. They announced that during Grand Slam. Obviously, I think that one will probably be a little schmazzy and we'll get a bigger blow off at maybe the pay-per-view, but a really great week for AEW. WWE is definitely going to step up this game if it kind of wants to continue to, trend in a better direction as we go toward WrestleMania, but AEW definitely blew them out of the water this week. So, thank you for joining me as always. This is episode 90, so 10 away from 100. So, thank you for joining me as always, and hopefully we can get there in about 10 weeks. I'll see you next week.